Brian Michael Bendis' work in Legion of Superheroes makes Cecil Castellucci's Female Furies read like Anna Karenina, the graphic novel. Alright, so this is going to be a doozy of a review. Brian Michael Bendis relaunched the Legion of Superheroes this week, or at least that's what the comic's title implied. Fun fact, there isn't a single appearance in this comic from a member of the Legion, while we actually get a random scene stretching into the future with a character who prior has never been portrayed as immortal or possessing any type of increased lifespan, to my knowledge. Bottom line up front, this is one of the worst comic books of 2019. Probably the worst from DC or Marvel. If you already read the book, I'm sorry, and I feel your pain. If you're a fan of the Legion of Superheroes and were excited about the relaunch, I'm double sorry. I don't think anyone could have predicted this comic would be worse than Tom King Batman bad. Bendis' writing has been exceptionally poor in 2019, but he was already taking it to another level this month with Action Comics 1014, Superman 14, and Event Leviathan releases next week. But I can't see Event Leviathan supplanting Millennium as the new rock bottom for Bendis at DC Comics. This is just such a bad comic book for oh so many reasons. It contains a group of random scenes that don't really relate to each other, and none of them tell a story. In fact, there isn't a plot to be had in this entire comic book, at least that I can see. In all honesty, the narrative is incoherent tripe. Each random scene contains its own random artist, ranging from excellent to pretty bad. It's completely inconsistent. In fact, the art within each random scene is also uneven at times, so I guess technically, the art is consistently inconsistent. There's also plenty of logic gaps. Listen, if I got into all the deets of everything wrong with Legion of Superheroes Millennium, this review would be at least an hour. So I'm going to focus on what I think is without a shadow of a doubt the worst part of this comic book, the foulest Bendis speak I think I've ever read. And I read Action Comics 1014, which was terrible. What's worse than terrible? The dialogue in this comic book is hideous. That about sums it up. I hope you're ready for all the dreadful details in my Legion of Superheroes Millennium comic book review. The comic begins with the reveal of Bendis' newly christened immortal DC character, and it's really strange. I'm not sure what his connection to Rose and Thorne is, but she's now a major player in Action Comics and the mystery character reveal in Legion of Superheroes. I'm certain the character is fans and all, but this is supposed to be the Legion of Superheroes book. This choice feels forced, uninspired, totally random. It feels like a lot of things, but satisfying isn't one of them, at least from my end. Of course, it's never explained how she became immortal. I half expect that information to be revealed in the pages of Action Comics, to be honest. But the dreadful dialogue immediately starts on the first page. What I'm about to say is going to sound insane, but I know it sounds insane. I want you to know that I know this sounds insane. When you hear people talk about Bendis speak in a derogatory manner, this is what they're talking about. It's basically meandering gibberish, and it always sounds like it's from the same character no matter what. If Jessica Cruz was the big reveal, Bendis wouldn't have changed a word of dialogue in the book, other than her name, of course. He's not completely incompetent, I guess. But generally speaking, the dialogue goes nowhere, and far too often characters tend to not finish sentences and stumble over the words. It's basically infuriating to read. We then learn Rose is speaking to the future President of the United States, Supergirl. If the random scenes in this book are told chronologically, it makes no sense that Kara looks this old. But there are no dates given for the stories, so technically Bendis could be telling this Tarantino style, so I'll table that criticism for now. For reasons, Bendis decides to portray Rose as totally mentally deficient right out of the gate. I mean, yeah, we know she has multiple personalities and also she has issues, but he makes her look straight up stupid here. Lex Luthor previously created a cure for Rose and Thorne's condition, thus nobody suffers from it anymore. So there's no more medicine to keep Thorne at bay. Okay, that makes sense. She mentions she's the same age as Supergirl, but looks remarkably younger than her. She realized when they stopped making the drugs, she hasn't aged in a while. This, despite her husband dying of old age in front of her. Bendis expects readers to believe she watched her husband break down over time and die, and never noticed she was still in her 20s because she lived in the Canadian countryside. Hell no, you can't make this kind of stupid up, but it gets better, trust me. We then move to a future Gotham setting. Thorne has reemerged and is shooting people with lasers. As she's killing people, she engages in a little smack talk. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. Until I say it out loud. Here goes. But you thought what? I was just another one of those pajama-wearing super puppies? Super puppies. Really. Bendis gets paid real money to write visual-based action-adventure stories, and that's the best he can come up with. But you thought what? I was another one of those pajama-wearing super puppies. Anyway, she easily dispatches of Batman Beyond, ties him up, and reveals his identity so she can interrogate him. She wants to know if he's the original Batman. I guess she's looking for other immortal beings like her. Disappointed to learn he's not Bruce Wayne, she drops a tear and says, "But you're just another Bat baby." Wah wah. As she exits the scene, we get more prattle. Well, after all these years, I still don't understand how the world works. And it sucks because I'm pretty much stuck here. If you replace the words "the world" with writing, it basically sums up Bendis' inner monologue during his time in comics. Well, after all these years, I still understand how writing works, and it sucks because I'm pretty much stuck here. Indeed, you are stuck here, Bendis, for reasons DC readers can't fully understand. On to the next felony against storycraft and dialogue. The Kamandi story is easily the most nonsensical of the entire comic issue. Thorne approaches Superman's old uniform that's being kept by an ape-like elder who appears to be a museum curator of sorts. When she goes to steal it, the elder objects, and she cuts his head off. If capturing, kidnapping, and unmasking Batman doesn't disqualify her from being a member of the Legion of Superheroes, this beheading should probably do it. If she's not going to be a member of the Legion of Superheroes, what's the point of the book? Riddle me that, Bendis. This is such a huge waste of time. When confronted by Kamandi, she claims Superman is her father and distracts him by saying, "Look, up in the sky, there's Superman." When Kamandi turns his head, she runs for it. I shit you not. That's in this comic book. I couldn't make it up. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It happens. It's followed by a fantastically bad line of dialogue from Kamandi as she approaches the city. Maybe we can work this out. I mean, you did murder that elder and steal. That wasn't cool. Alrighty then. The last section of the book features Tommy Tomorrow and the Planeteers, and I honestly don't know much about them, so this writing could be spot on, but I highly doubt it. It's very random, so random in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Mac Fraction helped him write this part. It reads like Bendis speak, combined with the weird garbage I read in the first issue of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Rose rushes to join the Planeteers because she's tired of talking to people. Naturally, she sits down for an interview to speak with Tommy of Tomorrow, and after Tommy guesses she's 65 years old, it goes a little something like this. It's weird, I almost want to thank you, and I also kind of want to kill you for that. This has just been the most fun I've ever had, Rose Forrest. I didn't tell you my name. You were identified when you walked in. You know they do that everywhere, right? Since birth. I will gladly talk to your supervisor. Belly laughs ensued. Rose makes a break for it and warns Tommy, if you see me again really soon, and I'm dressed a little bit more provocatively, and I start to hit on you, if I try to kiss you, that's not me. Her name is Thorne, and she's about to kill you. Run! She hates when people embarrass me. I'm not threatening you. This is one of the most pathetic excuses for a comic book I've ever read, even by Bendis' current, very low standards. Some of the art is good, or even great at times, but it doesn't matter. The writing is just obscenely bad. There's no other way to put it. Combine that with the fact that not a single Legion of Superheroes character is in the book, and you have the makings of the worst comic issue of 2019. At least from the major publishers. I've read worse stuff from some of the really small publishers, but not DC, and probably not even Marvel. Brian Michael Bendis' work in Legion of Superheroes makes Cecil Castellucci's Female Furies read like Anna Karenina, the graphic novel. I do apologize for not getting this review out sooner, but I honestly couldn't have expected this comic to be this bad. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.